This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV 24/7.
Hello and welcome to NDTV's World Report. Let's begin with the US President Donald Trump, who strongly condemned the brutal killing of Chandramouli Bob Naga Malia, an Indian origin motel manager who was beheaded in Dallas. Now, this took place last week by a Cuban migrant. And now it is Donald Trump who's taken to his social media site Truth and said that he is promising to make America safe again, and declared that his administration would not be soft on illegal immigrant criminals. My colleague Vishal joining us in order to get us more on this. Vishal, take us through, Donald Trump there talking about how illegal immigrants is now going to be something that he's going to be looking at. And, take us through what's really happened here in this particular regard. He's going to say that the man will be tried for first-degree murder.
Yes, that's what he exactly said, and it remains to be seen what exactly the US authorities will do now, because Donald Trump has clearly instructed them that the harshest penalty needs to be, laid upon this person, the aforementioned culprit who was allegedly an illegal immigrant from Cuba, and he had several, criminal records against his name, and even then he was allowed back into the US. That is what the Trump administration has been claiming, and Trump has gone on to attack former President Biden also, because he has been attacking Biden on many fronts. One of them has been immigration, and he is sort of blaming the Biden administration for this tragedy, and saying that such illegal immigrants, the way they were, handled, it's not proper, and he is promised, harsh punishment. It has to be seen what kind of punishment this person will get, but many experts have speculated that the capital punishment could be tried in this case, because it is a very gruesome case, and it has gone on to shock the world, because the images tell the whole story, the whole sequence of events, the gruesome details. They're all on the internet, and they've all been shared across the way the man was chased after, and the way he was hacked, and the way he was killed in front of his family. It's a series of gruesome details, and the series of tragedies that unfolded on that day. So all of that will be analyzed by the authorities when the sentencing is done, when the case is properly analyzed.
Right, thank you so much, Vishal, for getting us the very latest. Moving on and staying with news of Donald Trump again, he has reiterated his stand that he is willing to impose sanctions on Russia, but called out Europe to act in a way. This is a way that also is in tune with what Washington wants, basically, asserting that Europe is buying oil from Russia. Trump told the media that Europe is buying oil from Russia. I don't want them to buy oil. The US president said that the sanctions, as far as Europe is imposing on Russia, are not enough, and that the European Union needs to be tough.
NATO has to get together, Europe has to get together and do. Look, they're my friends, but they're buying oil from Russia. So we can't be expected to be the only ones that are, full bore. But Europe is buying oil from Russia. I don't want them to buy oil. And the sanctions that they're putting on are not tough enough. And I'm willing to do sanctions, but they're going to have to toughen up their sanctions commensurate with what I'm doing.
But just to clarify, you wouldn't move ahead until NATO moves ahead.
Well, I'm ready to move ahead, but they have to do it. I think they will. But right now they're talking and they're not doing. Look, they're buying oil from Russia. We're not buying oil from Russia. They're buying a lot of oil from Russia. That's not the deal.
And Russia and Ukraine have, in fact, they've gone and carried out major attacks against each other over the past 24 hours, targeting military and strategic sites. This is amid the ongoing conflict. The Russian Ministry of Defense announced that its forces struck Iranian personnel as well as equipment on multiple fronts over the past day, advancing into defensive depths as well. Now, this is at a time when they're improving their, tactical position and securing more favorable ground. Russian forces have targeted Ukrainian military production facilities, long-range drone control centers, and temporary deployment sites of these are Ukrainian troops and foreign mercenaries This is in over 140 locations, is what the Ministry of the Air Defenses of Russia had to say. In fact, they have also gone ahead and they've shot down at least 360 drones at the very least. US President Donald Trump has said that the unfathomable hatred between Russian President Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian President Zelensky has blocked a peace deal from being made, which he has in fact thought would have been easy compared to how it really has transpired so far. The president, while speaking to reporters before boarding his Air Force One, he slammed NATO, saying that they are not doing their job to bring the war to an end. Trump went on to say about 8,000 soldiers have died between Russia and Ukraine this very week, now leading him to ask why the war was still trudging forward.
The hatred between Zelensky and Putin is unfathomable.
No, but if they talk, they will have.
I don't know. I think I'm going to have to do all the talking. They hate each other.
The Chinese and the United States delegation concluded their first day of talks on economic and trade issues in the Spanish capital of Madrid on Sunday. Chinese Vice Premier is also a member of the Political Bureau of the Communist Party of China Central Committee, and the U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent led their respective teams. Both were welcomed by Spain's foreign minister at the Santa Cruz Palace, and this is from Sunday to Wednesday. The two sides will discuss issues such as U.S. unilateral tariff measures and the abuse of export controls and TikTok. That is what a spokesperson from China's Ministry of Commerce had to say. Utah Governor Spencer Cox has said that Charlie Kirk's alleged killer is in fact is refusing to cooperate with investigators and has not admitted to carrying out the shooting. The 22-year-old suspect, Tyler Robinson, was arrested roughly 33 hours after that shootout that took place. Do remember there was a bullet that went through the neck that killed Charlie Kirk. This is the 31-year-old right-wing activist, a close ally of Donald Trump, who was fatally shot on Wednesday last week. Now, this is, of course, the authorities are going on to say that there are people who are close to him. In fact, they're the ones who are assisting the authorities with the investigation. But this man, the suspect, refuses to cooperate.
Boyfriend, the roommate, is cooperating with investigators. What specifically have you learned from this individual, and is the suspect cooperating?
So what we have learned specifically is that this person did not have any knowledge, was shocked when they found out about it. When he found out about it, the suspect has not been cooperating so far, and so we're getting all of this information from family members, again people around the suspect, and then the forensic information that we have, which is confirming everything and more than what we were able to share in that initial press conference.
Brazilian former President Bolsonaro on Sunday briefly left his home, and this was before he has really been under house arrest to undergo a medical procedure. That's what he was allowed for at a nearby hospital. His first public appearances, he was handed a 27-year-long prison sentence. Now, a panel of Supreme Court justices ruled that Bolsonaro had attempted a coup and tried to illegally hang on to power despite his defeat in 2022 to the current president, Lula da Silva. Now, escorted by the police, Bolsonaro went to the hospital in the capital of Brazil for procedures related to skin lesions, as well as a temporary release granted by the court on the 8th of September. He was discharged in the afternoon, doctors from the hospital said in a statement. The recent Israeli airstrike in Doha has sparked public condemnation, with many residents of the Qatari capital asserting that the United States has lost its international credibility due to its long-standing bias and indulgence of Israel. Now, Israel launched that unprecedented airstrike targeting a building where Hamas officials were meeting to discuss the latest ceasefire proposal that has been put forward by the United States. 5 members of Hamas and a Qatari, this is a security officer, were killed during that strike, while key members of the Hamas negotiating team survived.
Civilian area surrounded by schools, embassies, and residential buildings is both unacceptable, actually. It is almost malicious that this sector of Doha narrowly avoided a large catastrophe, because of in the suburb of that same building is a petrol pump.
Now, a new wave of anti-immigrant protests is gathering force across parts of the Western world after weeks of targeted incidents in the United Kingdom. Concerns are now echoing from Australia as well. Two countries where Indians make up a large share as far as migrant and student communities are concerned. With general elections approaching in both, immigration has become a hot button issue, and India is watching closely. Here is a report.
It began quietly, then intensified. More than 110,000 demonstrators flooded central London in a massive anti-immigration protest, described by analysts as the UK's most significant far-right mobilisation in modern times. The United Kingdom rally, led by far-right figure Tommy Robinson, drew attendees from across the country and quickly escalated into violence, resulting in multiple injuries among police officers.
You, the British public, have now made London the battleground for this fight. We're going to do it again. I'm sorry, some people couldn't hear because there was too many of us. We didn't get to finish it. We didn't get to give our closing speeches. We didn't get to tell you our vision of how we can change this country, but we're going to. We're going to do it again.
In the UK, at least 3 to 4 anti-immigration flashpoints have emerged over the past month in areas like Knowsley, Loughton and parts of Kent. Protesters have rallied outside migrant housing facilities, alleging strain on public resources. But critics say the anger is being fueled by nationalist rhetoric and pre-election politics. With over 1.2 million Indians in the UK, including doctors, engineers and students, the tone of the discourse is raising alarm. Indian professionals form the backbone of sectors like healthcare, tech, yet face growing hostility on the ground.
Islam has already been, at the heart of many of these conversations, but it will not restrict itself to people from Islamic background. I think any outsider will become, any quote-unquote outsider who's seen as an outsider in a society will become a target. So Indians, I'm afraid, will also bear a lot of this, a lot of the brunt of these activities.
While the UK grapples with rising tensions over immigration, similar unrest is now unfolding halfway across the world in Australia, where Indian migrants and students are also facing increasing hostility. The trigger: complaints about overcrowding, housing shortages, and the influx of international students, many of them Indian. Indian students who contribute billions to Australia's education economy suddenly found themselves caught in a storm of public resentment. The cost of living crisis has heightened public frustration, often unfairly directed at immigrant communities. With crucial elections on the horizon in both the UK and Australia, political parties are using nationalist messaging to gain support. Meanwhile, misinformation about migrants spreads rapidly, further deepening divisions and fears. But the backlash isn't going unchallenged. Civil rights groups and migrant advocates in both countries are calling out scapegoating, urging governments to differentiate between legal migration and fear-mongering. India is paying close attention because it is the largest source of migrants to both Australia and the UK. Indian students contribute over $6 billion annually to Australia's economy. In the UK, Indian professionals play a vital role in sectors like NHS and technology. Any worsening of anti-migrant sentiment could strain India's important strategic ties with these countries. From London to Melbourne, the political climate is shifting, and migrants are increasingly in the crosshairs. For India, this isn't just a foreign policy issue. It's about safety, dignity, and future of millions of its citizens abroad. As the protests grow, the question is, will politics trump partnerships? NDTV World Bureau Report.
Now, video has gone completely viral from London that sparked a debate on social media as it showed an anti-immigration protester buying, this is the onion bhaji. More than 1 lakh people marched through central London on the weekend carrying flags of England and Britain to protest against the immigration in what turned out to be one of UK's largest right-wing demonstration in recent times. Here is a report.
Friday saw massive protests in central London. Placards, slogans and strong sentiments against immigration. But what caught public attention was a brief moment of irony. A man carrying an anti-immigration sign was filmed stopping mid-protest to buy an onion bhaji, a staple of South Asian cuisine. The irony wasn't lost on social media. The video, posted online, quickly went viral, triggering debate about the selective acceptance of immigrant contributions. The irony is palpable, one user commented. Another added, enjoying the flavors brought by immigrants while protesting their presence. That's rich. From curry houses to tech hubs, immigrant communities, especially from South Asia, have long been vital to the UK's economic and cultural identity. And while political rhetoric may target migrants, the daily life of Britain tells another story. One where immigrant labour, food and culture are deeply ingrained. This isn't just about a snack, it's about the subconscious acceptance of what immigration has brought in everyday British life. As the UK wrestles with the rise in anti-immigration sentiment, the real question may be, can one separate the culture from the people? With Mohammed Ghazali, this is an NDTV report.
And with that, we're slipping into a short break. Back with a whole lot more on the other side. Stay with us.
Rajasthan is history, culture, and much more. And I have been reporting on all things royal for more than 25 years.
The colors, the culture, and the complexities of the Northeast is different from the rest of the country. I have been bringing the Northeast closer to the capital for over 15 years.
Madhya Pradesh is the heart of India, and I have been capturing its every beat for over 10 years, covering the corridors of power, what is said, what is left unsaid, and what it actually means for you and me. I have it all covered.
Kashmir is often called paradise on earth, a region that has been in a state of flux from conflict to India's crowning glory. I have been reporting and decoding Jammu and Kashmir for last 3 decades.
Welcome back. Now, according to tracking website downdetector.com, Elon Musk's satellite internet service, this is Starlink, was back online for most users after a brief outage that took place earlier today. The number of US users reporting issues fell below 1,000 as of 1:15 a.m. from that peak of more than 43,000 users. The platform tracks outage by collating status reports from multiple sources. And China's factory output and retail sales reported their weakest growth since last year in August, keeping pressure on Beijing to roll out more stimulus in order to fend off a sharp slowdown in the world's second largest economy. The disappointing data split economists and these are others as far as policymakers that would need more near-term fiscal support to hit their annual growth target of around 5%, with the manufacturers awaiting more clarity on a US trade deal and the domestic demand curve by a wobbly job market and property crisis. Australia's ANZ Group has agreed to pay $159.5 million. The Australian corporator, this is the regulator, as far as the largest ever penalty that is against a single entity over systemic failures ranging from acting, this is unconscionably, in a government bond, that is a deal, to charging dead customers. The penalties announced today are a troubling milestone as far as Australia's fourth largest bank, which last week announced 3,500 job cuts as the new CEO looks to improve profitability at a price. Now, this is that it already is required to hold more capital in reserve than its peers this is due in part to fallout from the bond trade. And this is on Sunday. Well, this is central to China's Wuhan province that hosted the 13th Merida Cup. This is the cup that is a 16-kilometer course with over 1,000 meters of elevation that saw 1,500 elite riders from around the world competing head-to-head. This competition is divided into 5 categories: the men's road elite group and men's road mass group. women's road group and women's mountain bike group and men's mountain bike group, and an age range from 18 all the way to 65. Pakistan coach has, he was left fuming after the Indian contingent refused to shake hands with his players during the Asia Cup between India and Pakistan, the match that India won. There were no customary handshakes between the players of the two sides.
You refused to shake hands with the Pakistani players after the match. Was it politically motivated, or it was just to match the vibes of the people back home after the recent skirmishes between the two countries? And don't you think that it was against the sportsmanship?
I feel few things in life are ahead of sportsman spirit also. We actually stand with all the victims of Pahalgam terror attack, and we stand with their families, also express our solidarity. Also, as I said at PC, that we dedicate this win to our brave armed forces who took part in Operation Sindoor, and as they continue to inspire us all, we'll try our best whenever given an opportunity to inspire them as well, if possible.
We were ready to shake hands at the end of the game. We obviously were disappointed that our opposition didn't do that. We sort of went over there to shake hands, and they'd already gone into the changing room. So that was a disappointing way, obviously, for the match to finish, and a match that we were, disappointed the way we played, but certainly were willing to go and shake hands.
And time to get you some entertainment news now. The Apple TV workplace thriller Severance got off to a strong start. This was on the 77th Emmy Awards, which took place earlier today with a pair of acting wins. It was adolescent Owen Cooper, who has become the youngest male to ever win an acting award at the Emmys at the age of 15. He, of course, has won that Outstanding Supporting Actor. Well, also it was Jake Gyllenhaal who paid a surprise visit to Owen Cooper just before the Emmys, the day before the Emmys, only to present him with a lucky duck as a token of encouragement. Cooper went on to make history as the youngest Emmy winner. The pitch and the studio were the biggest winners of the night. Sydney Sweeney, as well as Pedro Pascal and Jenna Ortega, were amongst the big names on the red carpet.
Hollywood's biggest night for television glittered at the Peacock Theatre in Los Angeles, as the 77th Primetime Emmy Awards celebrated the best on the small screen. Comedian Nate Bargatze made his Emmy hosting debut, keeping things light as the trophies rolled out. Seth Rogen's comedy The Studio swept the night with 13 wins, a new record for a comedy series. Meanwhile, HBO Max drama The Pit scored the night's top prize, Best Drama, edging out the heavyweight contender Severance. At just 15, British actor Owen Cooper made Emmy history, the youngest male winner ever for his chilling turn in Netflix's limited series Adolescence, which also took home Best Limited Series.
It means so much to me. It means so much to me, my family, the people back home. It's just, I genuinely don't know what to say really, but yeah, it just means the world to me, so yeah.
And beyond the glitz, a political flashpoint. Several stars wore artists for ceasefire red pins, calling for an end to Israel's military campaign in Gaza. Among them, Megan Stalter and Javier Bardem, lending star power to the movement. A night of record breakers, bold statements, and fresh wave of winners. The Emmys proving once again, television is still the stage for the biggest stories. Bureau Report, NDTV.
And here's the dining room. There's a lovely garden, plenty of room for a trampoline. It's beautiful.
Our relationship with money is formed from a young age.
Nice to meet you both. Well, we've seen a house we really like.
That's why we're here to help you take control and find a mortgage that suits you, whether you're buying, moving, or looking for a better rate. Barclays. Make money work for you.
If Lubasi was your son, you'd do anything to stop his suffering.
He's in agony because he has an eye infection called trachoma. It's often spread by flies, like these. If Lubasi was your son, you'd take him to the doctor. But his parents can't afford to get him the care he so desperately needs. You can. When you give £2 a month to Sightsavers, you can help save more children from agony like this and spare their parents the pain of watching their children suffer. Every month, you'll help our eye doctors get to some of the world's poorest and most remote villages. It's so simple to treat trachoma, but we urgently need your support to do it. So please call 0800 038 4920, text Site10 to 82727, or go to sightsavers.tv to give £2 a month to Sightsavers right now.
Buongiorno, Brad. Turn on your DeLonghi.
Okay.
Then choose your drink in just one touch. For the perfect form, tilt the wand exactly 50 degrees. Bravo. Now also tilt yourself 50 degrees. Right. And enjoy. Licking your milk moustache is optional. DeLonghi is not just perfect, it's perfetto.
When life tries to dim my skin's radiance, I switch on my own light.
Liz Earle Instant Radiance Serum. With niacinamide and vitamin C-rich acerola cherry. Instantly boosts the look of skin's luminosity. Discover your glow. Liz Earle Glow Range. Own your light.
Get the new Google Pixel 10 Pro on EE because powerful AI deserves the UK's best network.
Hey Gemini, help me organise my living room.
Got it. Let's get that sofa moved. Turn it around and place it on the other side of the room, against the wall. Try mixing books with photos on the shelf to make it feel like home.
Talk to Gemini about anything you see. Powered by EE. Offer ends 15th of September.
When facts are fragmented, we put the pieces together. Where power collides with truth, we are there.
Behind me is that massive security arrangements that are in place.
Behind fractured boundaries, we clear the fog of war. Fault Lines with Gauri Dwivedi, only on NDTV World.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news is here.
Rajasthan is history, culture, and much more. And I have been reporting on all things royal for more than 25 years.
The colors, the culture, and the complexities of the Northeast is different from the rest of the country. I have been bringing the Northeast closer to the capital for over 15 years.
Madhya Pradesh is the heart of India, and I have been capturing its every beat for over 10 years, covering the corridors of power, what is said, what is left unsaid, and what it actually means for you and me. I have it all covered.
Kashmir is often called paradise on earth, a region that has been in a state of flux from conflict to India's crowning glory. I have been reporting and decoding Jammu and Kashmir for last 3 decades.
You're watching India Global. I'm Gauri Dwivedi. Let's get you the big stories that we are tracking this hour for you. First up, over 1 lakh join London's largest anti-immigration rally. Will legal immigrants face the wrath of the anti-immigrant protests? And will this become the litmus test for Starmer Sarkar. Nepal is set to hold its parliamentary polls on the 5th of March. Roads set for the transition to democracy in Kathmandu, even as questions remain as far as Bangladesh is concerned, where second university poll has been swept by radical Islamist group. What lies ahead in Dhaka, even as the treacherous road to democracy in Nepal we decode. No corn, no deal. That's the word coming in from the US. Will the corn become the major thorn as far as thrashing a trade deal between India and the US is concerned? We tell you more as Howard Lutnick, the man who many call as Trump's bully-in-chief, warns India to take the GM crops and GM corn. India-Pakistan Asia Cup handshake row escalates. Pakistan protests India's refusal to shake hands. Adolescents, the studio and the pit dominate Emmy Awards. Adolescents is Owen Cooper, youngest male acting winner. The big story that we are focusing on India Global today. Is it nationalism or is it a growing threat to immigrants? Dubbed as Britain's largest free speech festival, this and in fact, the Unite the Kingdom rally was perhaps the country's largest anti-immigrant protest in recent history. Thousands, in fact, the BBC said 1.5 lakh people had gathered by one man, far-right activist Tommy Robinson, chanting slogans, "We want our country back," and send them home. That's what those chants were all about. The demonstrators also chanted crude refrains about UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, saying Starmer a wonker, and also shouted messages of support for Charlie Kirk, the man who was killed this week. Tommy Robinson showed his solidarity, and which is the reason why this protest came about. Elon Musk, the man who's, well, for some strange reason, isn't in the news so much these days. He also slammed the UK government, calling for the fall of the Starmer government. Immigration claims that migrants are taking jobs and resources, and the worsening of crime rate were primarily the two reasons behind the anger and the protest that broke out. What does this mean as far as the Indian community is concerned, the diaspora there, and also will this have an impact as far as the India-UK relationship is concerned, and really the elephant in the room that we're going to talk about? How quickly do things that target the illegal immigrants suddenly talk about the legal immigrants as well? Will that happen here as well? We're going to decode that for you. But first up, listen in to what Tommy Robinson had to say, the man who started this protest and whose clarion call saw 1.5 lakh people on the streets of London. Listen in.
We came in our millions, okay? The biggest protest in British history. You, the British public, have now made London the battleground for this fight. We're going to do it again. I'm sorry, some people couldn't hear because there was too many of us. We didn't get to finish it. We didn't get to give our closing speeches. We didn't get to tell you our vision of how we can change this country, but we're going to. We're going to do it again. Unite the Kingdom, unite the West. It's a cry for help. We want world leaders. We want them coming from all over the globe. London has been chosen. You, the British public, have made that happen. Don't talk about change, be the change. That's the reality, yeah? That's what we need.
All right, so the clarion call of Tommy Robinson was answered. There were thousands of people on the streets. But what happens next here? Is this now going to be a larger movement targeting illegal immigrants? How should the Indian diaspora be looking at it? There are a lot of Indians who are in the UK, who want to go to the UK. And will that be affected? Those are the big questions. We put that out for you. First up, is this free speech or is it far-right nationalism? And will this dovetail into the larger far-right movement that one is seeing across the UK? Germany is the other one. Next, will anti-immigrant protests topple the Starmer government? Elon Musk has spoken about it. Nigel Farage has a lot of momentum and support going on it. And people on the streets are chanting what they see as an anti-Starmer slogans. Will that lead to Starmer government being on shaky ground? He asked that question. Will legal immigrants face the brunt of these protests? And lastly, should the Indian diaspora in the UK, how do they view this? Are they in some sort of trouble? Do they have reasons to worry? Those are the other questions that we're going to put out. Professor Scott Lucas joins me on the broadcast, Professor of US and International Politics, Clinton Institute, joining me from London. I also have Harjap Singh Bangal, who is an UK immigration and human rights lawyer. Well, several people actually call him the immigration guru, actually. Okay, so let's start with you, Professor Scott. These are protests that were essentially about uniting the kingdom. It was a clarion call by Tommy Robinson. But I'm going to try and look it through the lens of people who will get impacted in it and focus solely on the Indians. I'm going to come to the bit about how Tommy Robinson has made a distinction between the Indian immigrants and several others in just a bit. He's in fact spoken about it, saying Indians have a separate, they are better than the rest, they're lower in the crime rate. I'm going to come to that in just a bit. But your first thought on how do you see this protest through the lens of the Indian British immigrant?
Well, I think I leave it to Indian British immigrants, or indeed Indians who are UK citizens, to speak. But to give you my observations as someone who lived in the UK for almost 40 years, first, this is not a uniting the kingdom rally. This was a rally led by the far right for particular groups that the far right likes. This was, and we must be honest here, this was not just anti-undocumented immigrants. This was also anti-refugee. It was anti-asylum seeker. It is anti-legal immigrant. Because despite what Tommy Robinson will say, oh, you Indians are okay, you can stick around, this was largely a rally for an England which is a white England, a Britain which is a white Britain. This is what we call not nationalism, it's nativism. Now, there are other people who were there who may not ascribe to the far right. They may say they were there for other reasons, such as legitimate concerns over immigration. But the leadership of this was not just Tommy Robinson. It was also the Trumpist chief strategist, Steve Bannon, who has called for white nationalism, even white supremacy. It was members of the far right from Germany, the AfD, from other European far right groups. So yes, without raising this, no need to be hysterical, no need to be fearful, but there is reason for concern here that these groups do not want to unite the kingdom. They want to promote their idea of the good groups. And they want to demonize those who are not good.
Harjap Singh, let me ask through the lens of British Indians there, those who are legal immigrants, they contribute to the society legally, they pay taxes, they are part of the system there. What about them? Do they stand to get impacted? And also, let's also put a lens on the undocumented ones as well, or the illegal immigrants as well, those who go from India to the UK.
Yes, I think I agree with a lot what the professor has to say, and the fact that this is a far-right movement funded by the far right. And now, it's very important to say that everybody there was not far-right, but they are definitely, the far right is attempting to influence them by painting people who don't look like them, don't talk like them, don't have the same customs like them, as outsiders. And for British Indians as well, it's a matter of concern, because many of those people who are marching as well do believe that even people like myself who are born and bred in the UK shouldn't be here. You only have to look at X, formerly known as Twitter, to see the amount of vile comments made towards British Indians on there. And it's a very, very dangerous thing if Indians actually welcome this guy, Tommy Robinson, that's not even his real name, who is in fact convicted of many offences, including fraud and thuggery and violence, and even deported for using a fake passport. He has been himself. Indians should not welcome him. It's a result of his whipping up frenzy and Nigel Farage reform frenzy.
You're not going to get any answers by bashing Tommy Robinson, right? I mean, or by or by delegitimizing him? Because there are 1.5 lakh people on the streets who are answering his clarion call. Let's now talk about how this goes from here.
1.5 lakh people is not a lot of people, considering when you stopped the Iraq war rally, there was 1 million people on the street. So I think that's very important to have. How we go from here is we have to influence governments, and we have to out these people and show what the real agenda of these organizations is. British Indians are a threat. There's been an arrest made over the weekend of a rape of a British Sikh girl in the Birmingham area by white people who were saying to her, go back to your own country, we don't want you here, whilst raping her. Now, if that isn't a big threat, then I don't know what that is, if that isn't a concern for Indians. Also, the pressure put on the government regarding immigration has had an effect on legal immigrants as well. Student visa dependents have been stopped. Work permit dependents have been stopped. Carer visas have been stopped from India. As a lot of things, the salary required to bring an Indian over as your partner has been upped, and a lot of people have been excluded. A lot of Indians have been excluded for that because they're not in that well-paid jobs. So it is having an effect everywhere. And Indian government has been put under pressure in trade deals to take back their illegal migrants. Otherwise, there could be a clamping down on the number of visas given to Indians. This is a big concern. This is as a result of all the pressure being put on the governments by people like Farage and Tommy Robinson. And it's not about bashing anyone. If someone's right, you're right. If you're wrong, you're wrong. How people, who have descended from migrants themselves are now calling and attempting to divide and rule. This is in fact what it is. It's trying to play Indians off against other migrants, European migrants off against Indian migrants. This is what's happening, in fact, and the agenda is.
Speaking about that Sikh woman and racist attacks, Professor Lucas, do you see those increasing going forward? Is there a public mood and sentiment in favor of, or that may create the atmosphere towards increasing such racist or crime against a particular race or ethnicity?
Regrettably, when you get, under the guise of free speech, when you get hate speech, when you get this poison that's not just by individuals like Tommy Robinson, but indeed on certain national UK television stations that's, let's be honest here, work for the Reform Party. When you get that poison spread, it does raise the risk of attacks. In my country where I live now in Ireland, there have been a spate of attacks on Indians who live here legally because we also get this same poisonous rhetoric. And so my fear is that without a dignified, responsible pushback on this, you wind up having further division and, yes, further violence. And again, speaking, with my colleague who put this very, very well, this starts with a dignified, responsible call for action by the government, not to call Britain an island of strangers, but to talk about the contributions of all groups, including immigrants, to the United Kingdom. It starts with responsibility in the universities. It starts with responsibility across all professional groups, not to give into this type of language, but to say that on the whole, immigrants have helped improve the United Kingdom economically, socially, and culturally.
Indeed. Final closing comments, Harjap Singh, very quickly, which is, if you have to give one message to the British Indian community in the wake of these attacks, what would that be? And a message to the authorities, what would that be? Very quickly.
Stay safe, stay united, try and find out the reasons behind it. Do not allow to be divided. Unity is the strength. Use your common sense. Don't buy into the rhetoric. See the people and recognize the people who are trying to amplify this hate, because ultimately, once they're finished with one group, they will then come for you.
All right, I'll leave it there, gentlemen. Thanks so much for joining me on India Global. Well, viewers, bottom line on this really is that as far as the anti-immigration protest is concerned, there is now a groundswell in favor of what many would term as a far-right protest, which is about negating the other, which is about ensuring that communities that contribute to the British economy are also completely ignored. Will that mean legal immigrants will be under threat? Will that mean that pressure will mount on Starmer government to act more? There has already been some movement as far as visas are concerned and several others. That has already been going on. Will there now be a further movement on that? That's the big question. And lastly, how will authorities respond to growing racist attacks is really going to be the defining moment as far as Keir Starmer is concerned. All right, viewers, even as we speak about these racist attacks, don't forget there's been a viral video that's come from London which has sparked a huge debate on social media. You have an anti-immigration protester actually buying onion bhaji from one of those outlets that are owned by the Indian community. And that just sums it up for you that this is what integrated society is all about. And these protests are negating all of that.
This baby bear is terrified, torn from her mother's paws at a tender age. They will force her to live alone in a tiny, filthy cage, like so many bears driven mad by loneliness, rubbing their wounds raw against the bars, suffering cruelly day after day, year after year, just for people's entertainment. Four Paws found little Potap crammed into a tiny, squalid cage. He'd been there for almost 9 years, lonely and isolated. There are so many more young bears who need your help. Please call 0800 038 0496 or text BEAR5 to 70800 to give £3 a month via your mobile phone. Every month, your £3 could help us free more bears. Help give bears the veterinary care they need and help them live happy, healthy lives in the freedom of our natural sanctuaries. Please call 0800 038 0496 or text BEAR5 to 70800 to give £3 a month via your mobile phone and help Four Paws free bears from agonizing torture. Please, don't leave these bears to suffer for a single day more.
Unexpected expense? Drafty's got your back. Borrowing £100 for a month costs less than £6. Apply at drafty.co.uk.
It was so painful to watch. I sat there and I held her hand. She just went. Although people don't like to talk about it, but we're getting older, it has to be done.
Yeah, you got to have that conversation about wills.
Start to think about, well, what would I do? Where would I want to leave things?
Give more end-of-life care. Search Marie Curie Will Talk to get your free will guide. With Post Office Over 50s life cover, enjoy peace of mind knowing your family will receive a guaranteed payout when you're gone. UK resident 50 to 80, your guaranteed acceptance. No health checks and from just £1.15 a week. Plus free 24/7 GP access with the health and wellbeing benefit. Purchase and receive a £125 gift card for amazon.co.uk, Tesco or M&S. Call Post Office on 0800 171 2211.
Welcome back. Let's get you the other big story that we are tracking on India Global. Well, that is regarding yet another reason for a fresh thorn as far as the India-US talks are concerned. This time, it is over corn. As US Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick has said that Washington claims that India is taking advantage of the US market, saying India sells everything to the US but will not buy its corn, not even 1 bushel of corn. That's what he said, asserting that New Delhi just bring down tariffs or face a tough time doing business as far as the US is concerned. And let's tell you, viewers, why is it that India cannot succumb to A, it cannot succumb to these strong arm tactics, and B, why corn could actually mean a huge deal breaker for this trade deal. Now, first and foremost, US has said to India that you buy our corn or you lose market access. India is the 5th largest corn producer, and most importantly, you have politically sensitive states like Bihar being being very significant in terms of overall production. Bihar is there, UP is there, that is the other part of it, which is why it's politically sensitive and what happens to our farmers. Let's move ahead and tell you why is it that this is important. Largely, we are self-sufficient. We also export to other countries. Now, corn actually has a very long chain of residue products. Some of it gets used in ethanol, some of it actually gets exported as it is. So those residue products have a long supply chain, and some of it we export, some of it we use for our ethanol. Now, going forward, with sugar industry really not looking at very large amounts of growth going forward, ethanol is a very substantial part of their future business roadmap, and which is why ethanol becomes the reason why US corn cannot be taken as it is by India. Add to it the fact that it's genetically modified. There are concerns in India that we cannot allow GM corn. It extends to GM soya bean as well. And lastly, right to protect Indian farmers. Now, this is where all of it sort of comes up. One, the fact that what do we do when we do not want to have GM crops? B, what do we do with the fact that there is now 19% of fuel that comes from ethanol, where prices of ethanol have actually gone up, along with prices of fuel. Now, all of that dovetails into farmers' income. If you take all of that away, then that is actually going to have a huge impact about how India is going to protect farmer incomes, which is why it's not just about corn, it's about protecting Indian farmers, which is why it's going to be a bit of a deal breaker going forward. All right, turning attention now to the other big story that we are tracking on the show, which is India's neighborhood. It has actually seen massive turmoil. Last year it was Bangladesh. This year it is Nepal. It has been pretty much the same template. You had violent student protests, which actually led to overthrowing the government. In Kathmandu, what looks like a huge sigh of relief is the fact that the Nepal new Prime Minister has said that she is going to conduct elections in 6 months. And she said that she's only going to be there for a limited period of time. That's very significant. She said that I'm going to be here only for some time, and my single biggest objective for the government is that there will be elections on the 5th of March. Now, contrast that with how things have been playing out as far as Bangladesh is concerned. That's a completely different story, where you have student university elections being won by organizations that are extremely radical, extremely Islamist in their outlook. And that adds to Dhaka's fractured polity, as the Islamist-led 8-party grouping demands exclusion of 14 political parties and the entire election system. Now, with this victory that happened at Jahangir Nagar University, located near the capital, Shibir now has 2 of the most important university campuses under its control in Bangladesh. The reason why we are talking? Well, this entire movement actually ostensibly started from the students, right? It started from the youth protesting, which is why these student university campuses, if they come under the control of these Islamist organizations, it sends a very strong message. And that's exactly what the bottom line really, viewers, is here. As far as India's neighborhood is concerned, there's been huge turmoil, but India has been waiting, urging, and goading all parties to come back to the electoral democratic roadmap. Nepal seems to have already come to that. It is pointing to that as well, saying that in the next 6 months we'll get onto it. Bangladesh remains a matter of concern. There is still no date that has come out for Bangladesh. It has already been over a year. Till now, we are waiting for when that date for the election will be and when that entire process will take place. The fact that these university campuses are becoming hotbed for radical Islamist thought is another reason for New Delhi to be very cautious going forward as far as a volatile neighborhood is concerned. Turning attention now to the other big story, US President Donald Trump has now strongly condemned the brutal killing of Chandra, an Indian origin motel manager who was beheaded in Dallas last week. Donald Trump finally had to speak. This is a crime, viewers, that sends shockwaves across anybody. The man was beheaded and then his head was tossed around. That is what happened. He was a Cuban migrant, but finally Donald Trump had to speak, and he spoke in the words that matter, which is fullest extent of the law will be taken care. He'll not just be charged in the murder in the first degree, but he also said that enough is enough. You cannot be soft on illegal immigrants. That's the big story. But this is part of now a pattern that's emerging. Unfortunately, there is a 73-year-old Sikh woman who's also been detained by immigration authorities in California. So as I said, there are these two events that you cannot sort of completely detach from each other. The reason for that is you have the Sikh woman who's been attacked and she went for a routine checkup with the agency. There's been protest and concerns among her family and members of the community. That is one aspect of what is happening, which is Harjeet Kaur. And then there is Chandra M., the man who was targeted. We still don't know why. And this is the truth and reality of America that we need to keep speaking about, because the 5 million strong diaspora that exists in America, that's the backbone of the American economy. And those pictures on your screens are the most gory crimes that have been committed against that diaspora in just a matter of days. India Global will keep coming back to you with those details and updates about what really are the American authorities doing about it. All right, turning attention now to an update coming in as far as trade talks. Donald Trump, remember, is a man who's on a mission to try and cut trade deals. He hasn't been able to do so with China so far. Talks are continuing on economic and trade issues. This is happening in Madrid between the Chinese and American delegations. Chinese Vice Premier is also a member of the Political Bureau of the Communist Party. And the U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent led respective teams met there. And it remains to be seen whether there will be any breakthrough in those talks or not. All right, well, the other big story of the day, one may think it's about a sports match. Well, India-Pakistan, when they clash, it is anything but just a sports match. India versus Pakistan Asia Cup clash witnessed some unprecedented scenes, viewers, as skipper Surya Kumar Yadav of Sky and Indian players, all of them did not shake hands with their Pakistani players after the match ended. Pakistanis ostensibly walked up to their dugout, have even raised this concern, saying that, this is actually not correct, this is sportsman spirit being violated, and they've lodged a formal protest. But, well, you can do what you want to. Indian sportspersons played because they were asked to play. They also dedicated this win to the Pahalgam victims and Indian Army, and they made it clear that they are not going to shake hands with those Pakistani cricketers. All right, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of India Global. Thanks so much for watching.
No child should suffer the torture of trachoma, but so many are in pain right now. Nananga's lashes have turned inwards. They rip and tear away at his eyes. Pomelo's sight could be gone forever. He's just 3 years old. Kofanga screams for his mother. His eyes are so infected that he can't even see her. For so many children in the world's poorest countries, trachoma is torture. It's a painful infection often spread by flies, and it's destroying children's eyesight. But it could be stopped if you help today. By calling 0800 038 4926 and giving £1 a week to Sightsavers, you can help make sure children get the treatment they desperately need. You'll help us bring them the medicines and the care that can treat infections. And that means you'll be helping to save children from the torture of trachoma and a life of blindness. Please help us reach them. Call 0800 038 4926. Text C13 to 82727 or go online and give just £1 a week now. Because we need you to help save the sight of children like Nananga. We need you to help save them from the torture of trachoma.
Sometimes it's the little things that remind us of them. Stay close, even when you're far apart. Send money worldwide with Remitly.
Time to go to sleep now.
I can't sleep without Bunny.
Where is Bunny?
Downstairs with Grandma.
Is he? I'll better go and get him then, hadn't I?
For 50 years, Stanner has been helping people continue to enjoy life upstairs. And with stair lifts fitted in less than a day, you can carry on just as normal.
But Bunny can't sleep without Teddy.
Contact Stanner now. Stanner, enjoy the life upstairs.
Hello?
Everything costs a fortune.
Everything except my Lebara mobile plan. Great signal, fast data, and no need to remortgage the manor.
Lebara, the smarter mobile network.
This is an important message for people living with diabetes from people living with diabetes.
When I was experiencing the symptoms of diabetes, I didn't know what was going on.
You go on the internet and it's full of horror stories.
I didn't understand about carbs, I didn't understand about blood glucose levels.
That's why the support I get as a Diabetes UK member is so important.
You can become a Diabetes UK member for just £3 a month. When you do, you'll receive a practical guide specific to your type of diabetes and a copy of Balance magazine 4 times a year. Plus, you'll help support research that could lead to better treatments for all types of diabetes.
As members, we're all working it out together.
Call 0800 144 5410 or go online to become a Diabetes UK member for just £3 a month. Join us now because membership can help you learn to live better with diabetes.
It feels good knowing that your future's in hand. Evlo can offer you a loan from £1,000 to £15,000. Get your conditional decision in minutes.
I like making sure I've got all the right tools for the job. And now that I'm 50, that means looking after the life I've built, protecting my lot if anything happened to me. That's why I decided to learn more about over 50s life insurance from Cover Today. They're the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period, unlike other insurers who could make you wait up to 2 years for full cover. With Cover Today, you're fully covered from day one. And you're covered for the whole of your life. Plus, unlike other things in life, the price never goes up. Learning more couldn't be simpler. Go online or talk to their friendly UK team in just one phone call.
Cover Today are the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period and no annoying trips to the doctors either. Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card.
Cover Today has given me genuine peace of mind. And now that's done, I can get on with something much more interesting.
To find out more about Cover Today, call our friendly UK team on 0808 143 4733 or visit covertoday.co.uk.
Yes, we've won £1,000! Play Bingo at Tombola for free in September, where a £1,000 full house prize will be won every day. Open for fun.
AutoSerge automatically checks for ways to save on your car or home insurance. They compare the market up, the simplest way to save.
This is so wild that I actually, from a dream, started a business. I don't think I could ever work for anyone else ever again.
Elevate your everyday with David Lloyd Clubs. Try a 3-month membership today.
We all know animals have feelings. They depend on kindness, just like you and me. So imagine how they feel when they're beaten, starved, and unloved. Every minute, the RSPCA is called on to save animals in physical agony and mental torment. It's unbearable to see the pain in their eyes. We refuse to give up on them, but to rescue them from a life of fear, we urgently need animal lovers like you to donate today. Please, call 0800 121 4260 or text KIND to 84903 to give £2 a month to the RSPCA. Your gift will help fund more life-saving rescues, more emergency treatment, and more gentle rehabilitation. Every month, you'll be helping to keep animals free from pain and sadness, so they can find the comfort and joy they deserve. Right now, across the country, thousands are suffering deliberate harm. But together, we can show animals what kindness feels like. Together, we can rescue them. So please, call 0800 121 4260, text KIND to 84903, or visit our website to start your monthly donation today. Thank you.
Annadurai. In this occasion, ADMK leader Sengotayan and former ADMK leader Sasikala and O. Panneerselvam reiterates that the call for unified ADMK. We know that a few days back, Sengotayan calls for unified ADMK and set a deadline of 15 days, which ends today. You know that deadline, 10 days, which ends today. In this day, when we asked Sengotayan about what happened to unified ADMK, he said that he expressed the opinion and sentiment of cadre and people. Even the same opinion was expressed by former ADMK leader O. Panneerselvam and Sasikala also. Sasikala said that only unified ADMK can bring back MGR and Jayalalitha governance in Tamil Nadu. United ADMK would be tough, but it is the need of the hour. This is what the development around ADMK so far.
நோக்கம் இயக்கம் ஒன்று பெற வேண்டும். புரட்சித்தினுடைய அவர்கள் அம்மாவுடைய ஆட்சி மனதில் கொண்டுதான் இந்த கருத்துக்களை 5ஆம் தேதி என்று பிரதிபலித்தேன். இதை பொறுத்தவரையிலும் தொண்டர்கள் பொதுமக்களுடைய கருத்துக்களை மனதிலே கொண்டு புரிய வேண்டியவர்கள் புரிந்து கொள்ள வேண்டும் என்ற வேண்டுகோளை நான் வைக்க கடைபிடிக்கிறேன். நம் இயக்கம் வலிமை பெறுவதற்கு நம் இயக்கம் 2024 வெற்றி பெறுவதற்கு எல்லோரும் உறுதுணையாக பணிகளை மேற்கொள்ள வேண்டும் என்று வேண்டுகோளை வைத்து விடைபெறுகிறேன். நன்றி.
நிராகரிக்கிறதுங்கிறது பொதுவாக ரொம்ப ஈஸியான வேலை. சேர்க்கிறது அப்படிங்கிறதெல்லாம் ரொம்ப கஷ்டமான வேலை. அது டைம் எடுக்கும் சேர்க்கறது. இப்போ நாங்கள்லாம் தலைவர் மறைவுக்கு பிறகு பார்த்திங்கன்னா சேர்த்தே பழக்கப்பட்டுட்டேனா. அதனால் இது நிறைய பேர் இதெல்லாம் தெரிஞ்சுக்கணுங்கிறது தான் என்னுடைய ஆசை.
இன்றைக்கு அண்ணா அவருடைய பிறந்த நல்நாளை முன்னிட்டு பிரிந்து கிடக்கின்ற அனைத்து இந்திய அன்னார முன்னேற்ற கழகத்தினுடைய சக்திகள் அனைவரும் ஒன்று சேர்ந்தால்தான் மீண்டும் புரட்சித் தலைவர் எம்ஜிஆர் அவர்கள் எந்த நோக்கத்திற்காக இந்த இயக்கத்தை உருவாக்கினார்களோ அந்த இயக்கத்தினுடைய கொள்கைகள் கோட்பாடுகள் கீழ்த்தட்டு மக்கள் மேற்தட்டு மக்களுக்கு இணையாக தங்களுடைய வாழ்க்கை நடைமுறையை கொண்டு வந்து அந்த மக்களுக்கு சேர்த்திட வேண்டும் என்று இருவரும் தலைவர்களும் 50 ஆண்டு கால அனைத்து இந்திய அன்னார முன்னேற்ற கழகத்தினுடைய வரலாற்றில் 30 ஆண்டு காலம் ஆளுகின்ற பொறுப்பை தமிழக மக்கள் பெற்று நாட்டு மக்களுக்கு அவருடைய நல்வாழ்விற்கு என்ன தேவையோ அதைத்தான் புரட்சித் தலைவர் எம்ஜிஆரும் புரட்சித் தலைவி மாண்புமிகு அம்மா அவர்களும் தங்களுடைய பொற்கால ஆட்சியில் தமிழக அரசிலிருந்து பெறப்படுகின்ற மாநிலத்தினுடைய சொந்த வருவாயை கொண்டு நம்முடைய மாநிலத்தினுடைய அனைத்து மக்களுக்கும் கிடைக்கச் செய்கின்ற.
And another big development in Tamil Nadu is, that actor turned politician Vijay held a massive rally in Trichy. Following that, the war of words intensified between DMK and TVK chief Vijay. Various several leaders of DMK ministers criticized Vijay, saying that the crowd which gathers for Vijay is just to see him as he is an actor. And even one minister claimed that Vijay's speech was so narrow, he failed to speak important issue like SIR and related to SSA related funds. Even one minister said he can't be a MGR. Comparing MGR with Vijay is not good for Tamil Nadu. It's such criticism. You know, TVK chief also gave a counter to this, saying that DMK got frustrated over seeing the crowd in the recent rally which was held by Vijay. Vijay also said that very soon TVK will form the government in 2026. This same DMK only instigated hatred against MGR, but this is happening now also. But people understand that DMK, which uses ideology and principle outside, but maintaining close relationship with the BJP. We have reactions from DMK minister. Let's look into that.
We are not worried. We do accept that he is a charismatic person, having a lot of influence of the people who are sitting before a screen. That we do agree. But changing this into words has a lot of challenges that we need to understand. People say that when there is a vacuum, somebody comes. But in Tamil Nadu, you know, there is no political vacuum. The leader, the DMK leader, is a person who is being accepted by people across communities or any other barrier. He is a person who is being accepted. So we also have a charismatic leader who can never be so easily challenged by what people think.
யாராவது நடிகர் தூத்துக்குடிக்கு வந்தாங்கன்னா எப்படி இருக்கும் கூட்டம்? எப்படி கூட்டம் இருக்குமா இராதா? அதுதான் இருக்கும். இவ்வளவு காலத்துக்கு பிறகு இப்பதான் அவருக்கு அறிவு வந்துச்சா? மக்களுக்கு ஜீவன் இதுக்கு முன்னால எங்க போனாரு? அவர் சம்பாதிச்ச பணத்துல எங்க வச்சிருக்காரு? என்ன அப்பமா இப்போ உதாரணத்துக்கு சொல்ல போனா எம்ஜிஆர் அவர் உதாரணத்துக்கு சொல்றாரு. எம்ஜிஆருக்கும் விஜய்க்கும் ஏணி வச்சாலும் எட்டுமா? எம்ஜிஆர் திராவிட முன்னேற்ற கழகத்தினுடைய பொருளாளர், திராவிட முன்னேற்ற அண்ணாவுடைய வழிகாட்டில வாழ்ந்தவர், கலைஞரோடு இருந்தவர், அது மட்டுமல்ல மக்களோடு மக்களாக இருந்தவர், தான் சம்பாதித்த பணத்தை எல்லாம் ஏழைகளுக்கு வழங்கியவர். இவர் யாரு? இவர் என்ன செய்திருக்காரு சொல்லுங்க, ஒரு இதை சொல்லுங்க.
இப்போ நேற்றிலேருந்து நீங்கள் பார்த்துருப்பீங்க, விமான நிலையத்திலேருந்து வந்ததுலேருந்து நம்முடைய சென்ட்ரல் மீடியிலேருந்து எல்லாமே அந்த வந்த பசங்களாக இருந்தாலும் ஏன் நம்ம அனைத்தோடைய வரிப்பணத்தில் தான் ஒரு நாடு ஒரு நகரம் வந்து கட்டமைக்கப்படுகிறது. அது ஒட்டுமொத்தமாக அதெல்லாம் செதைச்சிட்டு போகிற மாதிரி எல்லாமே வந்து நேற்று போகும்போது வைத்தறிச்சலாக இருக்குது. எங்களுடைய சைட் முட்டுசா பள்ளியை சார்ந்திருக்கிற மேல் கூரையால் நின்று உடஞ்சி அந்த பிள்ளைங்களுக்கான டாய்லெட்டை எங்கள் வீணடிச்சிட்டு போயிட்டு. ஸோ அது அதான் சொல்லேன்னா இது வந்து ஒரு பிரச்சாரம் அப்படிங்கும்போது இவ்வளோ இளைஞர்கள் வந்தாங்களே, எல்லாத்தையும் கூப்பிட்டு பேசினார். வெரி ஃபஸ்ட் டைம் எல்லா தமிழ்நாட்டிலேருந்து இருந்தாங்க. கோயம்புத்தூர் சொன்னாங்க, கோயம்புத்தூர்லேருந்து வண்டி வந்திருக்கு, கேரளாலேருந்து வண்டி வந்திருக்கு, எல்லாம் ஏன்னா ஃபஸ்ட்டு ஆரம்பிக்கிறனால எல்லாருமே ஒன்று சேர்ந்து அவருக்கு வாழ்த்து தெரிவித்து கூட அவர் ஆரம்பிச்சிருக்கலாம். ஸோ இவ்வளோ யங்ஸ்டர்ஸ் நான் கேதர் பண்ணிட்டேன். அப்போ இந்த யங்ஸ்டர்ஸ்க்கு நாட்டு நடப்பு, நீங்கள் வந்து அரசியல் எதிரிகளை பற்றி பேசுங்க, அதே நேரத்தில் உங்களுடைய கொள்கை எதிரிகள் அப்படின்னு நீங்கள் சொல்கிறீங்களா, அந்த கொள்கை எதிரிகள் பார்த்து நீங்கள் பேசும்போது அப்பா இவ்வளோ பேர் இருக்கிறாங்க, நான் எல்லா பிள்ளைங்க மனசுலாம் இடம் பிடிச்சிட்டேன் அப்படின்னு நான் பெருமையாக சொல்லணும். அந்த பிள்ளைங்களுக்கான படிப்புக்கான பணத்தை அவங்க விடுவிக்காமல் இருக்கிறாங்களா, அந்த ஏங்க இந்த பணத்தை விடுவிக்கல, என் பிள்ளைங்களுக்கெல்லாம் வந்து என் ரசிகர்கள் தான் இந்த பிள்ளைங்களாமே, அந்த பிள்ளைங்க படிப்பதற்கான பணத்தை விடுவிச்சாதான் என்ன அந்த ஒன்றிய அரசு என்று அவர் கேட்டுருந்தான். எஸ்ஐஆரை பற்றி அவர் பேசுனாங்க. இப்படி நாட்டு நடப்பு சார்ந்து பல விஷயங்கள் இருக்குது. இவ்வளோ யங்ஸ்டர்ஸ் நான் கேதர் பண்ணேன். இப்போ நான் இந்த யங்ஸ்டர்ஸ்க்கு நான் ஒரு விழிப்புணர்வு கொடுக்க போகிறேன்னு சொன்னால் அது நல்லா இருக்குமே தவிர ரொம்ப நேரோ மைண்டடாக அவர் பேசிட்டு போயிட்டாரோ அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு எண்ணம் தான் எனக்கு தோன்றுது.
சில பேர் இன்று அரசியலுக்காக ஏதோ பேசிக்கொண்டு சுற்றி கொண்டிருக்கிறார்கள். அவர்களெல்லாம் தலைவர் என்று தாங்களே நினைத்து கொண்டிருக்கிறார்கள். மக்கள் அவர்களெல்லாம் ஒருபோதும்